Hi, Julie. Welcome to Two Blonde Shrinks.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
So excited to have you here today and to talk about this incredible book, Guasha and Crystal Massage, and all things psychosomatic, because as we know, our mind and bodies are so connected, and this is the work you do. So can you tell people what guasha is and face mapping and all the work that you do?
Yes, thank you. So I offer face reading, and part of that is with guasha massage. So guasha is an ancient practice. It's part of traditional Chinese medicine. It's just one of the modalities used. It's usually, in Western society, it's become very trendy to use a crystal stone that's polished and carved into all these different shapes. Traditionally, this was a grandmother's practice that was just passed down through the generations, either using coins or animal bones or horns or soup spoons. And it was used pretty intensely on the body to bruise the skin, because the philosophy was to get the toxicity out of the blood. So they would follow where it got deeper and more purple on the body, because the darker the blood, the more toxicity. So they wanted to pull it out. And our skin is our largest excretory organ. So it's a fabulous way to pull out toxins so that the organs don't have to deal with it. And so we're still able to do that on the face, but we do it with so much gentle, soft, hardly any pressure at all. We're not aiming to bruise the skin on the face.
Is this tool the one where we roll on our face?
So that's the jade roller or rose quartz roller.
Yeah.
On the cover of the book, Guasha and Crystal Massage,
for people
there's
to see.
the jade roller, which is really more about stimulating circulation, so getting the blood flow going and also cooling the temperature of the skin. And then the other stone that you can see on the cover is the Guasha stone, and that's like in the shape of like a surfboard fin or, a little fish fin.
Okay, I always thought that was just like a thing that people were doing. I was like, that doesn't work on your face. Like, what am I doing rolling this on my face? So apparently it does work, and it depends on the stone that is on the actual tool.
Yeah, each stone will have a different personality, if you will. So rose quartz is all about self-love, compassion. Jade is a beauty tool. It's been used in ancient Egypt. They used to make combs from jade. They would carve combs because they thought that it activated their crown chakra and it protected them.
I love what's copper. I have this one with like two balls, and it's like copper.
Yes, it might be a Kansa wand, and that's an Ayurvedic medicine tool. The copper will regulate the pH balance of the skin. So if it starts to get greenish, your pH balance is being adjusted.
Nice.
And there's other toxicities that are leaving the skin.
It's so fascinating because the face is sort of like a map to the whole body, right?
Exactly.
Similarly to like how reflexology is on the feet, right? There's so
Yes.
many points that are related to like the intestines and the colon and the liver. And
Yes.
so can you just sort of quickly go through like the most important like areas of the face? And I'm dying to ask you about zits.
Yes.
Because we know that like zits are like the way we purge emotions.
Yes.
And that they're not all created equal or the same. And I'm dying to know like the meaning behind all of these things on the face.
So I talk about these things as skin messages. So pimples, rashes, new wrinkles, the kind of sagging that we're starting to see, they're all skin messages. And we don't need to necessarily attribute it to aging or to puberty. It can be a non-linear healing process where, if we're getting new wrinkles, we aren't necessarily going down a one-way track of just getting older and more wrinkly and more saggy. I don't necessarily feel like aging has a lot to play into it. And so when we're talking about the whole map of the face, we are able to massage the organs. The organs have direct benefit by, going into the lower cheeks, which is lungs. Lungs usually have a lot of grief in relationship to them. So in traditional Chinese medicine, as well as Ayurveda, each organ is associated with a couple of different emotions. And they can be thrown off balance. The health and wellness of the organs can be thrown off balance by so many emotions, and by us not having emotional hygiene, by us not, meeting with our therapist to be like, let's have a check-in. What's happening with me? And so this can be such a great way to have slow, soft, gentle touch on the lower cheeks and really tend to our lungs, increase the oxygen in our body so that our brain is functioning better, our blood is cleaner. And then also with every exhale, as we're lovingly and gently touching this part of our face, the lower cheeks, we're able to exhale grief so that we're not hoarding it. It's not collecting in our tissues. It's not causing inflammation in our lungs or any issues in other parts of our organs.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful.
Well, we store so many emotions in the body, right? And they get stored in different organs in different places. And then they show up on our faces.
Yes.
And you're the one who tells people, like, okay, that's what's happening in your life.
Yes.
That's what's going on. This
Yes.
is the underbelly of what you're dealing with or not dealing with.
So we can decode the language of the body because it's so brilliant. The body is going to serve up the messages on the face as opposed to the ankles or wrists, because we give our face to the world. We interact and interface all the time with everyone. You know, we pass by a mirror, we pass by some glass, and we're like, oh, there we are.
Yeah.
But that the body's going to send it here to our face if it's a priority. It's not going to send it to another part of the body if it's not so important to pay attention
That's so
to.
true, right? I mean, how many times has someone said, like, you look so sad, and you're just like trying to feel better, or trying, like, your face gives off so many messages that you don't even realize it's giving off.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Well, it's like that goes back to that book, The Body Keeps the Score, right?
Yes.
You know, we can, and I'm going to get sort of back to like society, right? I always talk about how hectic things are in this modern world that we're living in, this fast-paced world, and we're not in touch with our emotions as well. And then it's like all of a sudden they hit us, and they'll show up on our face, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't even realize, oh, I'm facing something, I'm dealing with something inside, but I'm not even aware of it because I'm moving so quickly in my life or society or whatever it is that's going on. And then it's like, oh, somebody saw that you didn't see.
It's I mean, it's like energy, you know. Your face says a lot about how you're feeling and the type of person you are, the eyes, the lips, like how you smile, well, when it comes to dating, I always like to take everything back to dating. So let's say if you go on a date with someone, like, what are some things you could look at that'll give you some signs, or, you know, some clues as to what type of a person you're dealing with?
Yes. So something I always look for first is how the two lips come together. So a few things about lips. The upper lip is stomach. So this has to do with, you know, digestion. Are we disgusted emotionally? The lower lip is about intestines. This is about processing. How are we with discernment? Recognizing what to keep, what to let go of, what's pure, what's impure. Then the lips themselves, notice how it's completely different tissue from the skin on our face. And this is because in embryo, when we were developing, our heads lifted up off of our hearts, and our heart tissue remained on our lips. So every word that passes through our mouths passes through and is articulated by, formed by, shaped by our heart tissue. So
my
when we're
God.
kissing, and, you know, these first kisses, these dating
Wow.
kisses, we're kissing each other's hearts and sharing that cellular tissue information and what's stored there.
That's wild.
I know.
That
And
makes
cool.
me so emotional.
It makes
Doesn't
you.
it?
It's like
It
touching my
makes me
heart.
tender.
Yeah.
So your hearts are literally touching.
And
Yes.
also,
When you're
some people
kissing.
have lips shaped like hearts. Have you noticed
Yes.
that too?
And that all means something as well. So the shape of the lips means something. The line in between is what I look for first, because if it's a straight across line, and, you know, if you see this video or if you check out Instagram or something, you'll see mine are very straight across. So that's something I
know.
always look for. Like, does this person give me their honest feeling and opinion? Or do they have trouble kind of really saying the full picture? You know, not necessarily are they a liar, but, you know, where are they warping? Where are they bending? Where are they withholding some of their truth?
Is
also
there
communication? Maybe
Say again.
maybe they struggle with communication too.
Right.
Because if you're straight,
Yes.
it's like it's so transparent. If it's the opposite, it's hard to communicate effectively. So maybe look for someone with a crooked smiles. I'm like trying to piece this together here.
Okay,
To
so
see
your
how
lips.
transparent they are.
So looking at the lips is one thing. If there's a straight line,
Yes.
there's straight talker. The wigglier, the more manipulative they could be.
Possibly, yeah.
How about the eyes?
Yes. So we look to the left eye to get the full soul picture, the innermost essence, like who they are when no one's watching. And you may notice we really look with our right eye into another's right eye. It's just a little bit more armored. It's a little bit more practiced. The right side of our face is our mother's influence. And it tends to be more assertive. It's very extroverted, the right side of our face. It's who we are in our philanthropy, with our friends, our family, on social media. That left side of our face is our father's influence. And it's who we are when no one's watching, that innermost essence. So if you're meeting somebody new on a date and you really want to know what they're like, behind closed doors, start practicing looking with your left eye into their left eye. And it feels naked. Like we could even be trying it right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it too.
Cover your right eye and then just
Well, you
look
don't
with
have
your
to
left.
cover it.
No,
Okay,
just
you
like look
start
at it.
look.
Activating that left eye. And I use it a lot if I need to air something big or, repair from a confrontation or an argument, because that left eye, it will soften our heart space. It will melt the space between the two people. And then we really get an honest picture of what's going on inside of them. And hopefully the repair will be a little bit smoother, a little bit easier, because I'm in a more tender place, in a more available and heart-centered place.
It's so interesting you talk about the mother and father sides of the face, right? And I think about it, we have a good side and a bad side, like when we take pictures.
Oh God.
Does that? I'm just gonna.
My
this
left
the
side is
shrink
the
in me
better.
going-
I guess
coming
my
here.
dad's side is better.
Is it?
Right.
Are we
That's
picking
exactly
the side?
right.
Okay, here's just a question. It's hypothesis here. Are we picking the side? Like, hey, that's my good side. With the parent we have the better relationship with, and the one that we struggle with more is our bad side, and we're
not me.
using this in, like in our life, right? Subconsciously.
Yeah.
I would be fascinated to know if that's legit.
That's so cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that is very cool.
It all plays a role. And for example, I find that it shows up the most with the 11 line wrinkles.
What is that?
So those appear in the brow area where the eyebrows come together.
When you like furrow.
Exactly, the furrow wrinkles. So when we're really frustrated or we're looking at our phone all the time and we start to make these lines, people think it's just frown lines. They actually have to do with the liver, because the liver in facial mapping just takes up that spot right where the two eyebrows come together. So right at the top of the bridge of the nose, but not too far up the forehead. So it's right below the third eye, so to speak. The liver has to do with anger. So if you think about somebody who excessively drinks alcohol, they may be trying to bury or swallow rage. Or children of parents who had a strong addiction with alcohol will have a line on that side, that vertical frown line. So I'm always able to know, like, did your father have, strong relationship with alcohol, maybe more towards the excessive side? It's hard to say. You could come out and say, was your dad an alcoholic?
Yeah.
So I'll, try to soften it a little.
Yeah.
And they'll say, how did you know that? And I said, well, you have this vertical line on the left side, more towards that left eyebrow. And often it's, the child of the alcoholic parent didn't have any space, any safe space to let out their own anger. It's like walking on eggshells with a parent who's has an addiction or has a tendency towards narcissism or something like that.
What about crow's feet?
Yes. Okay, so the eye area in general represents the decade of our 30s. So crow's feet are these lines, the smile lines,
Yes.
like right on the outsides of our eyes. So if we are, smiling a lot, these lines get activated. And this is about expressing our joy and just expressing like the sparkle and glow that is in our eyes when we see somebody that we meet, who we love, who we want to be intimate with, who we want to express as a beloved. So they're joy lines.
Guess Botox isn't doing us a favor.
Yeah, so people shouldn't look down on their crow's feet. This means somebody's happy.
Exactly.
It's a good thing.
And I love talking about these lines as well, which are the smile lines or nasal, labial.
Or marionette,
Or
which is a
marionette
bad
lines. Yeah.
connotation.
Wait,
but
what's that? I don't know what that is.
it's above your lip, these ones.
Yeah.
Those lines.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
come down nostrils and then on either side of the mouth.
And they're called marionette.
Smile lines or marionette
They
lines
have,
or nasal labial fold lines. These are actually our life purpose lines. So when people are filling these in with a collagen filler or something, the life purpose might have to be that much more activated to then continue to make the crease in the face. So you'll see sometimes the left line is deeper. That left smile line might be deeper than the right. And that means they know inside what their soul's mission is, what their life purpose is. And they're not doing it. It's not in action. It's not in form yet. They're not following through on it yet.
Wow.
So the deeper they are, the more on track you are with your life purpose.
So don't fill in your lines, guys.
Fill in your line. And that's why it's so important to guasha and do crystal massage on your face and get acquainted with Julie's book. Okay, question. A lot of people have panic attacks. A lot of people struggle with anxiety. Is there something soothing they can do on their face? And I think about this insofar as like a mother's touch, right? A baby, I can calm my baby by just stroking his cheek. Is there something that we as adults can do to self-soothe when we're having those hard moments?
Yes.
Anxiety, panic attacks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we do it intuitively already. So if there's a panic attack coming on, we can go up to our forehead. You know, often when we're like, oh no, we tend to kind of clap hand to forehead, like, oh no. We have these 2 kidney points up here. So it's kind of like when we're really dehydrated, we start to get little horns up here, like the bones start to shift shape.
I didn't know
Do
that.
you get horns?
I don't know. I'm going to look at my...
I do sometimes. I'm like, oh, they're really accentuated right now.
Not enough water.
The devil's coming out.
I know.
The devil.
So the
doesn't
kidney is about fear.
Okay.
So if we go up and just place fingertips or the whole palm, whatever feels best in the moment, and breathe as best we can. So inviting deeper breaths. And I know in a panic attack, like the breathing becomes so shallow.
Oh, God, yeah.
But of inviting the possibility of, okay, how much can I stretch out my ribs right now? How much can I stretch and expand my lungs? Just let in a little bit more air. And pressing in whatever way feels good on the forehead, and it will calm the kidneys. It will calm that fear and send a message to the nervous system of like, oh, okay, we can start to pull out of this fight, flight, freeze, fawn. We can start breathing a little bit more. And then any pressure to the face, especially the forehead, will bring blood to the area. We want the blood in our forebrain, not going back into like the occipital ridge at the very back of the head where the neck comes up into the skull, because that's our critical mind, our analytical mind. We want to stay up in our forebrain, in our inspiration, in our open seeing, hearing, understanding.
Frontal cortex. Yeah.
How do you open the third eye, right? So the third eye, we know, and you can elaborate on this, is the pineal gland in the body. It's where all of our creativity and our true essence and selves and all the things that we tap into, our higher selves, lives. How do we access that? Is there a way to open it up?
Yes. I feel there's probably infinite ways. So just keeping it as simple as possible, you know, placing a fingertip right over the third eye, so just above the brows and in the middle, so a little bit above, and breathing there. You know, some people picture a golden light hovering right in front to just soften, activate, alchemize any energy. This was, you know, such a deeply Ayurvedic tradition of having this third eye open, of this clairvoyant, this clear seeing into the upcoming, into the future. And so having any sort of energy moving towards that, whether you're visualizing placing a finger, starting to activate your ears to ask the third eye to open. Like, what are we hearing? Because the ears meet the pineal gland on either side.
That's so cool. So even at times where we're kind of like manifesting things in our life and we really want to kind of open up that third eye, touch is so important.
Yes.
We don't, you know, I feel like if humans didn't have touch and we don't have that, we won't live too long. So like we forget to touch and we're constantly told to not touch our faces.
It's
by the way.
true.
Clean hands though, right?
Yeah.
It's
Probably
true.
okay.
Just clean
Yeah.
hands or, you know, wipe them off.
This is so interesting. And I love how we all have that like connection within us and that ability to, you know, connect with another person without even saying anything, by just kind of looking at their face. And I love the looking at the left side of the face or the left eye with the left eye.
I like that.
The next time we get into an argument, we're going to be like,
Ooh, I like
Dr.
that,
Elizabeth,
though.
look at me right now.
It's, you know what's interesting about the left eye is it's like an intimacy thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It forces you to be intimate with another person, which is so
Stop looking at my left
uncomfortable
eye.
with people, right? Because people struggle with intimacy.
Yeah.
So you look left eye to left eye, it's like, all right, we're honing
We're
in
naked
now.
right
yeah.
now. Yes.
Yes, 100%.
You're so awesome with the
Yes.
work that you do. And, you know, this is so useful because especially, you know, for anxiety and panic attacks, and we have anxiety in different parts of our life, like dating and with our families and stuff like that. So who knew your face holds so much? We knew where the body holds,
Yeah.
but I didn't know your face holds.
Yes.
So thank you so much. You're amazing.
Can you leave,
and we really appreciate
can you
it.
leave the viewers like 3 quick tips
Yeah.
of like anything they can do on the fly in their car or something that's sort of like a hack to just help them get through a hard day?
Yes. So I feel, you know, you brought up how important touch is, Dr. Irene, of just like the intentional touch, I feel, can really rewrite any programming, any neural pathways, any belief system. You know, body keeps the score until we release it with touch. And so I feel anything's possible. And so, you know, if you're driving in the car and there's panic starting to come on, or, you know, an argument that you're rethinking about surfaces again, I love, and this is in the book too, it's an acupressure point, and I call it thymus press. And you find your collarbones, you go down a couple of inches to this little soft divots. It's like these little tender places, and it's right over the thymus gland. And you just lovingly press, and then you don't even have to press too hard, but it will rewrite the nervous system reaction. So if you're starting to get into panic, if you're starting to get into rage or that fighting stance, pressing really lovingly and gently here can totally pull one out of that, you know, tight, restricted feeling. And our feelings are not who we are. You know, so many people share, I'm an anxious person. It's just how I am. It's how I'm made. And I offer back, well, maybe anxiety visits you a lot. You're not necessarily an anxious person. So the more and more we can disidentify with our emotions, the more freedom we have, the more possibility is open to us. And those visitors, these emotions are messengers, just like the skin messengers.
Yeah.
They're here to say something to us. And usually anxiety is about how much we care. We deeply, deeply care, either about how we're being received, or whether we're worth enough, or whether, you know, our message is going to be received and strong enough on the planet. So it's just this deep, deep care.
So pushing there.
Okay, so for those listening, it's you take your hand to the bottom of your throat, and there's that bone where there's like 2 little
Collarbones.
divots right below, and you
then
just
go a
push
couple
on that.
inches right below the
And does that
collarbone.
just calm the autonomic nervous system and re-regulate everything?
That's
Yes.
so cool. I'm going
That's
to try
a good
that.
tip.
Yes.
All right, so we can do that in our car, in traffic.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I love it. Thank you so much,
Thank
Julie.
you. What an honor. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Appreciate it.